Jaguars are getting with the new hire of new defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen.
Turned the defense that ranked in the bottom third in several major categories and had them in the top 10. He did it using, a multiple style. They used multiple fronts, played a lot of man-to-man coverage, a lot of nose-to-nose stuff where they take away the layups and the gimmies.
The JU Dolphins are looking for their first Atlantic Sun Conference road win since December 2nd when they take on the Eastern Kentucky Colonels this evening. Game time is 7 p.m. At your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, I'm Sam Nelson.
At 9:59, it's 72 degrees. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Trevor drops, looks, fires back in the end zone, caught for the touchdown! Touchdown in the back of the end zone to Calvin Ridley, and Jacksonville has taken the lead. Checks it down underneath. That's a crossing route to Christian Kirk. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10. Christian Kirk to the goal line. Touchdown, Jacksonville. A crossing route to Christian Kirk, and the Jags have retaken the lead. Fires this one deep downfield, and that ball is going to be picked off. The Jags pick it off, and they're going to run it back. That is Dewey Wingard, picked it off in the middle of the field. He's still running it back. He got it into Pittsburgh territory. Andrew Wingard stepped up and picked that thing off.
Just disappointing the way we finished our season. Obviously, it's definitely not good enough. Things start with me, and I got to make sure that I'm holding myself accountable, and I'm doing all I can to, help our football team win on and off the football field, but just not good enough.
It hurts, it hurts to not be able to finish, and you look at where we were at one point in the season and just finished really, really poorly and kind of, gave it away. So there's so many things you look at and it's disappointing and frustrating, and we have a lot of really great players, and I think we have the potential to be a great team. We didn't finish the year that way.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith,
John Shipley,
and Dylan Denmark.
You got the hacker as well. The nice intro for John Shipley of Jaguar Report. Good morning, Ship. How are you?
I'm good. I'm better now. That was great.
Hey, with hacker intros here, you got John Shipley here. You have arrived in the 1010XL studios. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
How are things?
Good.
You're Duval till we die today. I see that. Pockets, how are you?
Good. All good in the hood.
Feeling old in there? I hear the kids think you're old now.
Oh, no, that was old. That happened back in May.
I always feel old. May, huh?
Yeah, because I played 2K14, allegedly. Yeah. The game I grew up with, I feel old.
Well, yeah, it is,
that is old.
Close to a decade old now, so, that's the way it goes. I guess 14 would come out in 13, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, so that's over 10 years old
now. Dempsey and I have the benefit of the games that we loved as kids were just the game, right? And it's
no online.
Like they didn't update it every year, right? Like it was just, I had that game. I owned it for 25 years. I love that game. They didn't need to update it.
A lot of them were like that. Yeah. They did a lot of the sports games, so they did
sports
a lot
games
of
do it that way.
Yeah. NBA Live.
Outside of the old school sports games didn't. Like Tecmo Bowl was Tecmo Bowl.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I never played Tecmo.
NES
didn't
update
Tecmo
it.
Bowl.
You had Tecmo Bowl on the NES, and you had Super Tecmo Bowl on the Super NES. Like, those were the games.
Chip's like, what are these?
No, I played Tecmo Bowl. I played Tecmo Bowl.
All right. Well, you're an old soul.
It was at my grandma's house, but don't let that.
All right. They're already complaining, I'm sure. I haven't looked, but I'm sure they are because that's what they do, that we're not getting right into the Jaguar stuff, the goodies with John Shipley. So let's do it because you're only here for an hour.
Yes, sir.
And, you've got the Trent Baalke press conference today. And, Ship was combing through our question of the day responses to see if he could come up with a good question he hadn't thought of. So far, not too many that he hadn't thought of that he's willing to ask today. But we'll take a look at some of those a little bit later on.
It's stunning that it wouldn't be helpful.
Yeah. Hey, Trent, why do you suck so much all the time? All right. Probably not going to get asked that today in that exact fashion. So you went on a pod, I think it was yesterday, you did a pod, and you described Ryan Nielsen in your time covering the Jaguars, in your opinion, as the best coordinator hire that this team has made. Why is that?
Well, I should preface it with the context is that's going up against guys like John DeFilippo, Jay Gruden, Darrell Bevel, etc. So not a stack list, but I personally, just looking at his body of work, I don't think there's a stop that he's been at in the last decade where he hasn't done great things. I mean, even going back to when, he was a position coach at NC State, coaching defensive line, he had 3 guys drafted in one class. B.J. Hill, obviously Bradley Chubb, and then Kentavious Street. He helped Bradley Chubb become a top pick. Goes to New Orleans. They consistently have, one of the better defensive fronts. You have guys like Cam Jordan saying he's the best coach he's ever had. I believe Grady Jarrett's said similar. Just looking at his, body of work, I know a lot of people are hung up on him being a one-year coordinator, but he more or less was the coordinator for the Saints in 2022. They were top 10 in some of the most important metrics. Points scored, I think they were 9th. They were one of the best in terms of like the efficiency, like the advanced stats, like EPA per play and success rate and stuff like that. So just looking at his entire body of work, the kind of coach he is, the things people say about him, the players he's developed, I don't think there's really anything negative I could say about this hire. And I could have said something negative about any other hire they would have made.
Anyone they would have made in this cycle?
Yeah. Out of the guys that they talked to, I would have at least had some reservations about anybody else. This was the one guy who I thought at the start of the process, like, this should be the clear top guy. He has the best resume. He's the one who can come in there and instantly help them improve. And the fact that they landed him when there are so many other jobs out there. I mean, Miami just had a defense coordinator job open up.
Yeah, Vic Fangio.
Exactly. So
or did he step down?
It was a mutual parting of ways, and I think Schefter said he's already
he's going to Philadelphia. He's going to be made the DC
to sign
today.
the contract today. Yeah. So the fact that you're able to bring in a guy who was going to be one of the most coveted defensive coordinator guys in this cycle, I think is a slam dunk.
What about just to play devil's advocate here? He only has the 1 year officially as being a coordinator. You've got guys out there like Leslie Frazier, for instance, who've been around, been head coaches, seen a lot more, and they did go with a mix of guys that they looked at, some with some experience, some without as much experience, as leading an entire defense. What about the argument that they should have gone with a guy who's got a much deeper resume, deeper bench, seen more stuff, like Leslie Frazier as an example?
Yeah, I think you could definitely make that argument because even the last coordinator hire they made before this one, Mike Caldwell, was a guy who had never been a coordinator before. Joe Cullen, even the year before, never been a coordinator before. So this is the most experienced one out of all of them, and he has, one year, one official year. Yeah, so I think there's definitely an argument to be made there, but I'd say on the flip side, with Leslie Frazier, I'm not sure. I don't think he's taken a defensive coordinator interview this cycle. I know he said before the regular season ended that he wanted a head coaching job.
Right.
It doesn't look like that's obviously going to happen. I'm not sure if he even really wants to be a defense coordinator. And then you look at the other guys with more experience out of the pool that they talked to. Shane Bowen has, 4 years of experience. Wink Martindale's obviously done it for a long time. I think you can make arguments for guys like that, but I also think every great coordinator at one point was an inexperienced coordinator. If that makes sense. Every guy at one point, had to prove he could do it. And I just think seeing the turnaround with Atlanta's defense, especially, they had a reputation before last year of being one of the softest defenses in the NFL. Just seeing that 180, I think, should do enough to quell any concern.
And keeping in mind, they did add Jesse Bates, who wasn't there. Calais Campbell wasn't there. Nate Landman had played a large role for them. Wasn't a guy they were expecting to, but I guess you could look at that as a positive, kind of a no-name guy that he got a productive year out of. All right, here's, I think, what a lot of Jaguar fans are wondering, because the scuttlebutt is Nielsen is a bulky pick, and that Peterson might have wanted Marquand Manuel or somebody else, or do we know, John, what the dynamic is on hiring this defensive coordinator, filling out the rest of the coaching staff, the decision to let go of the defensive coaches? Is this the purview of the head coach, or does Trent Baalke have the final say on this stuff?
I know people hate hearing collaborative effort, but I really do think it's one of those things. I think picking the defensive coordinator specifically was an organizational decision. I don't think it's something that you just give to either Doug Peterson or Trent Baalke and say, you make the decision here. I think it was an organizational decision, which I don't think is as uncommon as people think. General managers a lot of times have hands in, coordinator hiring.
I believe we just saw yesterday that the Titans gave Rand Carthon full control of the roster
and
coaching staff, everything. Like, if you're Callahan coming in there, you're like, what the hell am I? What is my role here exactly?
Coach.
I guess.
Yeah. That's the role.
Run the guys that we're going to give you. Like, I don't see how that's a recipe for long-term success.
Yeah, no, it definitely, I think just like looking at the, really economics of building a coaching staff, most people would think you just have the head coach, go ahead and pick his guys. And I do think for the most part, that's what Peterson is / will do. I know Matt House was reportedly hired as inside linebackers coach. He's somebody who's worked for Andy Reid, so I'd imagine Doug has some kind of connection.
He also
there.
coached Josh Allen
exactly.
at Kentucky, was his defensive coordinator there.
And if you go back and look, Allen had some big praise for him when he left Kentucky to go to Kansas City.
So what does that say about the importance of Josh Allen here? Obviously Josh Allen's important, whether they hired Matt House or not to come in and be the linebackers coach, but specifically the fact that he is well regarded. From what like Pelissero said in NFL circles, he's well thought of. Guy's been coaching the Kansas City linebackers, is done collegiately and the pro level and done a very nice job. But what is that? Does that give you any indication of what might happen, how it might play out with Josh Allen this offseason?
I've said for a few months now, I firmly believe Josh Allen is this year's Evan Ingram, where last year, even leading up to free agency, there was no chance Evan Ingram was going to play for a different team the following season. He was going to be a Jaguar no matter what in 2023. I think Josh Allen's the same way. I personally believe he's going to get franchise tagged. I also believe / I'd say no, that there really hasn't been much movement on contract negotiation there. I couldn't tell you. It doesn't make sense to me.
All right, what you don't have to. Again, this is we have opinions and facts, right?
Yeah.
And you couldn't tell us there's no factual basis for this, right? Like you can't know definitively. But is this the sense that, 3 years before that he didn't put up 17.5 sacks combined? We want to see it again. Is that what we're getting here from the management side?
I do think that's part of it, and I also think when you use the franchise tag as a mechanism like this, like they did with Evan last year and Cam Robinson the year before, it does give you more time to find middle ground. Instead of having to, find that kind of place by middle of March, you now have until,
I get it, but like what's going to change over all these months, right? Like you've got a full month between now and when you can apply the franchise tag. Get this crap done.
Yeah.
If we're going to end up in that spot, let's get it done. Save this, lower the salary cap number, have more money going into free agency, and have the tag available if you want to use it on Ridley.
Like I know fans have a lot of things that they would like to see Balky called on the carpet for today, and that's
called
right. Like that's fine, right? Like I understand why they're asking the questions they want to ask, right? In response to the question today, I want to know how busy is whatever the interactions are between the team and Josh Allen already.
Yeah.
Because I do think whether or not they can put the franchise tag on Calvin Ridley is an important question, right, for this offseason and how they're going to make this offseason work. And if they can get something done with Josh, who we all know they should, right, get something done with Josh. If they can do that without having to extend their window to make that happen, all the better. But how seriously are they pursuing that here in the last couple of weeks since we heard, Demetrius said earlier this week with us that they don't negotiate those things in season, right? Like that's just part of what Trent Baalke does. He doesn't talk about these things in season. Well, then
season's been over.
Right. I hope it's been really heavy
Yeah.
in that direction as the thing they need to handle first in this offseason is what is Josh Allen playing under next year?
That's one thing I think they really bungled. Just the dynamic of having Calvin Ridley and Josh Allen both set to be free agents in the same offseason is something that should have been super avoidable. I think you look at, like, Nick Bosa blew the roof off of the edge market. You've had other guys like Montez Sweat, Rashawn Gary get paid. If you pay Josh Allen, last May or something like that, and you can use the franchise tag on Calvin Ridley instead of potentially having him walk, you give yourself so much more flexibility. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that they've made.
But you would have been paying a guy who had no more than 7.5 sacks in a 3-year period in a row. So, what would you be paying that guy? I mean, if they do that and Josh goes out and has another 7-sack year, then they look like idiots.
I think if you paid him then you're paying him for a little bit, obviously more than that pass production, but you're paying less than I think you would have you would have now. So
Probably,
you're hoping, you're taking a chance.
I think if I'm Josh Allen and I'm a year away from free agency, you're paying me more than that production would warrant too.
Yeah,
like, you know
100%.
what I mean? Like I don't know if it was just so easy that, hey, we'll give Josh an under market contract, because I don't think he's a dummy either. You know,
No,
and
at all.
So anyway, we talk about that. We can talk about Ridley, everything going into the offseason with the Jags. We'll only have Ship here for a couple of segments because he's got to get over to the Trent Baalke press conference, which we will carry here on the AM and FM dials. On the air, we'll carry it here on 1010XL 92.5 FM. It will not be on our YouTube stream. It will not be on any of our streams. So if you listen to the show on the 1010XL or the 92.5 FM app, you're not going to hear it on that. We're not able to stream it on those. If you want to hear it streaming-wise, you can just go to Jaguars.com. They'll be streaming the thing right there, and you'll hear that broadcast here on our AM and FM dial. So that's coming up at 11:30, about an hour and 15 minutes from now. Let's take advantage of John Shipley while he is here. If you'd like to get in with him, 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Hit us up on social media at MD_1010XL, at 1010XL Fat Tony, at _John Shipley, or at 1010XL Denmark.
Hold my pocket.
Old man in the house right there with Dylan Denmark.
Yeah.
We are ready to roll. Let's take advantage of John Shipley from Jaguar Report, talking Jags with you for the remainder of the hour here. This is 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Tell you about them every day because they impact me every single day. They help me keep the weight off that I lost way back in the month of September. Imagine that, October, November, December, all those holidays where you can eat all that delicious food, and I didn't put the weight back on. That's thanks to Awaken 180 and the terrific weight loss program that they have. You eat to lose weight. This is not a starvation diet type situation, and it's going to be tailored to fit your lifestyle. It didn't fit me perfectly when I first started out. A couple of tweaks later, lost 9.5 pounds in my very first week. You can be a success story as well, whether you need to lose 10, 20, 50, 100 or more pounds. Awaken 180 can help you achieve your goals, and once you hit that goal weight, whatever you set, once you get there, it's free support for life from my friends at Awaken 180. How do you get started? Call 844-346-1800. That's 844-346-1800. Do what myself and Matt Hayes have done to not only lose the weight, but keep it off. That's Awaken 180 Weight Loss online at awaken180weightloss.com.
Jaguars Today. From the JOI studios at 1010XL. Taking you from the line of scrimmage to the end zone. This is 1010XL.
When you got a problem, nothing hits the sweet spot like a promise. And if you think you have a problem in selling your home, we got your promise with ChadandSandy.com. That's ChadandSandy.com. You want me to just get right down to it? As simple as this. Your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it. So no matter what you think your problem is, maybe you're worried about selling for less money with a lowball instant offer, Chad and Sandy will deliver. They're the only real estate experts that we are trusting and recommending with the sale of your home. Chad and Sandy guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Derek on the north side. After my father passed, I wanted to move to Tampa ASAP to be close to my family. Unfortunately, my plan hit a snag when my home failed to sell with another agent in over 151 days on the market. I hired Chad and Sandy. They sold it for full asking price in less than 30 days. If they don't, they'll buy it. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to ChadandSandy.com.
Tired of dealing with clogged drains? What about bad smells coming from your pipes? You need to call Duck Duck Rooter, your plumbing pros in Northeast Florida. Duck Duck Rooter can help with any plumbing issue at your home or business. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Folks, the First Coast has voted. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute is proud to be chosen as Bold City's best in 4 categories: Best Orthopedic Practice, Physical Therapy, Pain Management, and Foot Care Clinic. For the last 30 years, JOI has continually strived for the highest level of orthopedic surgery and rehab care. As the needs of the community evolve, so will they. That's why coaches, parents, and athletes choose JOI. Call them at JOI 2000 or visit JOI.net. JOI, where the pros go.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard has the prices you've been waiting for on a new Cadillac.
We've got the all-electric 2024 Cadillac Lyriq SUV.
And we're taking $7,500 off at signing.
And this is not a tax credit.
Everyone qualifies at signing on the 2024 Cadillac Lyriq SUV.
We've got 13 in stock with 12 on the way.
Randy Marion is the place to go to find your dream Cadillac today.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville, plus tax tag title $899 admin fee and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Sometimes the most important position in sports needs a translator.
I'm Denny Thompson, and they call me the quarterback whisperer.
He shares his insights Friday mornings on The Drill. Brought to you by Tyson Sound and Security.
Register Sausage.
And George Moore Chevrolet.
The Florida sun is burning bright and coastal waters are sparkling. You need a boat. Come to the Jacksonville Boat Show, January 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. Don't miss killer deals on boats and accessories, plus fishing seminars, kids events, music, and fun. The Jacksonville Boat Show, presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. That's boatjacks.com. Buy a boat.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
When the sun goes down, you might think a golf course shuts down, but not at the Golf Club of Southampton. Join the gang every Thursday night for trivia with Brooke and Jason, and everybody's favorite night, Friday night on the patio, featuring local musicians, food, and drink. It's all at the Golf Club of Southampton. Great golf. You've come to expect that. But don't forget, when night falls, the fun doesn't stop. Trivia every Thursday night in Southampton's live music patio session Fridays. Call 287-PLAY to make a tee time and the good time.
Hey, this is Bert Cannon with the First Coast YMCA. Youth sports at the Y can help nurture your future athlete's potential and experience the joy of being a kid. At the Y, we're providing a safe, clean, and fun environment with basketball, soccer, volleyball, gymnastics, elite skills training, and more. Best of all, participation in Legacy Youth Sports League is free with your family membership. Visit fcymca.org to learn all about youth sports at the Y.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL. Brought to you by Renewal by Anderson, the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. 1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL.
One day I'm recording all the breaks, Tony. I'm going to sell them on a subscription service one day. I'll never do it. I'm never going to do it. I'm too lazy to do something like that, Chip. You don't need to worry about me recording any off-the-record comments that you make because I am just way too lazy. I really am. It's just not going to happen. All right, let's jump right into a lot of this stuff. You think it'll be the franchise tag on Josh Allen, right?
I do.
Which ultimate, and we were talking about one thing on the break. You're not sure he'll play on that franchise tag.
If you're him, it'd feel like a little bit of a slap in the face.
17 and a half sacks.
Yeah.
Right? Go out there. And in this scenario, potentially, let's say they franchise tag him, you think they have a high degree of interest in retaining Calvin Ridley?
I do think. I think both they want Ridley back, and I think Ridley would want to be back, but I don't think it's to the point where if they offered him like a hometown discount type deal, I don't think he'd want to be back enough to the point where he'd take that. Yeah.
And it depends on what that did. But let's say Ridley gets a deal that's compelling enough for him to re-sign. Maybe it's a 4-year deal, 4th year is voidable, whatever.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen's going, what? Like, huh? I've been here how long? And he just got what?
It's kind of similar to 2019 when they were paying everybody but Ngakoue. Like they paid Miles Jack before him. And, we were asking, okay, Ngakoue's been productive. He's done everything they've asked. What more does he have to do
Except
to get paid?
stop the run.
Exactly. The difference is Josh Allen is significantly better.
I understand. No,
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Yeah.
he's not. I couldn't let it go by without some snark added to the commentary right there. All right. Well, if you want to get in with Ship, if you've got a specific question, we'd love for you to pass those along. So let's do that. But we've got a bunch, and we got to take advantage. Let's go rapid fire as quickly as we can throughout the hour here. Darren on the west side going to get in first. Darren, you're on Jaguars Today. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. I haven't called in since went to Nashville. I've just been brokenhearted. But, John, I wonder, my thoughts have been all along. We see teams in the NFL every year make draft picks in the 2nd through the 5th round that add to the team. And I really feel like literally we were one game away from making the playoffs. We could have been 2 or 3 players from making a deep run in the playoffs, and that's what I'm so disappointed about. What would you have done differently as far as what players you would have drafted or addressed needs in free agency, which we did not do? See you later, Trent Baalke.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I thought the whole time it was kind of a fallacy, the Jaguars being like, our team is so built and so stacked that no rookie other than our first-round pick can, make an impact. I think that they made a mistake not double-dipping on the offensive line.
Cyrus Torrence is going to haunt this team, honestly.
I mean, they entered the year with Ben Barch penciled in as a starter at left guard. I don't see how you can seriously look at the offensive line in the offseason and say you feel good about that spot.
But didn't they feel better about Ben Barch? Didn't they think he played better last year prior to this season?
They thought he was the weak link before.
Okay,
Yeah.
San Fran picked him up, and all of a sudden we're hearing he may be their next center.
He can play center.
Apparently, I mean, that's not a poorly run organization. Maybe this coaching staff didn't get enough out of Ben Barch that they should have.
And that's fair to say. And also the fact that he was coming off an injury, and he clearly wasn't 100% when he came back. That goes back into why are you going into the year, without anything, else there. And I also think, I know Buster Brown, played well in spots for Tyson Campbell, but how much different does their cornerback room look right now if instead of trading down and take Brendan Strange, they just stay at their pick and take Tyreek Stevenson, who just had a great rookie season for the Chicago Bears? Then you don't even have to talk about a corner in the first round.
It could have been him. You could have taken Torrance, who was on the clock when they were there, and then they decided to trade back to get Strange, and the Bills took him.
C.J. Henderson couldn't have been a waste, right? Like they tried top 10 pick on corner, like they tried. Didn't work out so well.
Right.
Like it's their resources in the draft have been, misallocated for years now. Like
no question about it.
It's not a new thing.
Ship, where are they on cap space?
They're at, I believe, as things stand today, I want to say around $17 million. You have to obviously work with that because you got Josh Allen.
Any source you go to, it gives you a different story, right? And Josh Allen, as soon as you apply the franchise tag,
that's the cap space.
That's more than all your cap space you have available, right? Yeah. So, all right, somebody on the text line asked, do we have enough cap space to make noise this offseason? Well, not as it is structured at the moment, but what are the likely avenues that they're going to go down to create cap space? Let's go through some of these players here, okay? Brandon Sheriff.
Yeah, I think you get out of that contract.
So you save like $9 million, roughly. What about Cam Robinson?
I think so. You save
16.
Yeah, that's the amount of money you save and the amount of games he's missed over the last couple of years. I know it wouldn't be a popular move with a lot of fans, but I think it just makes sense.
Well, fans think there are not enough dogs, as DAWG dogs on the offensive line, and that Cam is that guy. Although Cam apparently didn't grade out great in run blocking.
It's such a misconception. He's never been a good run blocker. And the Panthers game happened, and ETN has that long touchdown along the right side. Everybody's saying, look, the running game's better because Cam's
and that was one play where ETN made a whole bunch of guys miss and broke a bunch of tackles, and the rest of the game he averaged well under 4 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So that was the ETN story this year, Tony. If you had a good game, you probably had one breakaway run, and the rest of it, I get it. Sometimes that's the way it works in the NFL, but this was consistently, slogging along in the mud.
And I think, you look at what's going on along the offensive line for this team, and you see Cam Robinson in the lineup and out of the lineup, and when he's out of the lineup, you're like, does anybody fight at all?
Yeah.
That's the way it feels watching, and Cam comes back in, and he's willing to literally fight opponents. right, on the field. Like, he's willing to get into those altercations. He's the guy that's going to come in and peel somebody off the pile. He's the guy that's going to go over and pick Trevor Lawrence up.
Yes.
You know, like, he's the guy who adds that's just attitude.
There's no doubt.
Right? Like, it's not necessarily that he's a good player, but he's the one that fans can look at and say, well, at least he's aggressive about being bad. Right? Like, that's kind of the way that it feels. So then you get into a situation where they can save the $16 million, given their limitations in free agency on their cap situation right now. It makes all the sense in the world to walk away from it, even if it means, okay, Walker Little's the left tackle, deal with it. I don't think those two players are separated by all that much.
No, I don't think so. I think you're exactly right. That's the biggest reason so many people, I think, want him around. That's the biggest reason why I think so many people think he's this great run blocker, is because he is the most aggressive, most physical guy on there, for sure, 100%.
All right, what about Rayshawn?
I think so, just because you save, I want to say, around $7 to $8 million, and you have a ready-made replacement, in my opinion, in Antonio Johnson.
You save 5.1.
Okay, well,
is that enough? I'm just asking. In this case, it may be because you have a cheap alternative on the roster.
I think so.
You know, you look at like a guy like Brandon Sheriff, and I agree with you. They're going to move on from Brandon Sheriff, right? Because maybe you find a guard for $3 million, right? But when I look at him, like, okay, his cap figure is still, his dead cap number is pretty high, right? So you look at if it's going to be $15 million or whatever it is, and it's like, I forget exactly what it is, but whatever that number is, you're going to eat that in dead cap space regardless. So the extra on top of that is $9 million. Is Brandon Sheriff worth $9 million? You know, because at that point, you're not going to have that cap space no matter what you do
100%.
over here. Now, it's Shad's money. It's cash that he's spending, but he's the only one that should be concerned with this, right? So can you find someone to replace Rayshawn and what he gives you for less than $5 million is a way I'd look at it.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, honestly. I think looking at the resources that you have tied into the player, plus what you could potentially add, I agree with you. And I think if they didn't have Antonio Johnson, if he didn't have the kind of run that he had at the end of the season, I know that mostly came in the slot, I think he's viewed as a safety moving forward. I think it'd be different, but since you do have that guy, and you also, I mean, you still have Andrew Wingard, potentially Daniel Thomas. Like, you have depth at safety. I think that's a move that you could stomach.
Yeah, I'm not saying that for you couldn't replace. I'm just saying that's the question you have to ask, right?
100%.
What about Zay Jones?
Personally, I think that you can get a better bang for your buck if you move on. It's just, how many starters do you want to try to replace in one offseason, I think, is the question you have to ask. And the fact that he has such good chemistry with Trevor Lawrence and that he was banged up for most of the year, I think that he'll probably return. I think you can make a case for moving on from him. You save, a decent amount of change, and obviously last year was kind of a lost year for him. Even in 2022, his good year, it was mostly because he had like 120 targets or so. It was mostly a volume player. I think you can find similar production for less, but I do think he stays.
His cap hit this past season that just completed was only $5.6 million. It doubles basically to over $11 million this upcoming season. The dead cap is $6.5 million, so you're saving $4.5 million if you move on from him. So that it's a consideration.
Yeah.
Jamal Agnew's not under contract. Is he gone? Is Parker Washington the new return guy now?
I think so. I think where they're at as a franchise, I think they're not in a position to pay a returner right now, just with how many other holes they have. So I think that's the move. Which, I mean, Agnew, for as much as people like to knock him for some of his mistakes on offense at times, on special teams he has saved them countless times.
He's awesome on special teams. He in fact has been at times, Tony, one of the most dangerous components on offense. As well.
He may have won him the game week 1 this year.
Yeah.
With that return against Indianapolis, right? And it's multiple times in the time that he's been here where he's had that kind of play and that kind of big moment on special teams, right? And look, I get it. Fans not happy. He fumbles whenever he's on the field. We know the ball's going in his hands, that kind of stuff. I get it, but what he was signed here to do,
he did it.
He did at an all-pro level during the time he was here. I'm with you. I'm not sure that they can afford to pay that again for a return guy, going forward with all the other questions they're going to have to answer on the roster going through this offseason.
All right, so conceivably, they tag Josh Allen. Free agency comes. Calvin Ridley's a free agent. Anybody can go after him. Zay Jones may not be with this team. We know Agnew's not with this team. I mean, like, I get it's not like we've ignored the fact that receiver could be a need for this team. How big of a need is it, John?
I think it's a huge need, and I think it's because they have invested almost no draft picks in the position since Trent Baalke's got here. There's no youth at receiver. They've spent 2 draft picks on receivers.
But Tim Jones, he's young.
Yeah,
Come on.
He is. I'll concede that Tim Jones is young. I mean, I think Baalke's made 25 picks since he got to Jacksonville, and the 2 receivers were a 6rounder and Jalen Camp, who never played an actual snap for the franchise.
And Washington.
Exactly. Who it looks like right now his role is like punt returner /
which is
back
fine.
end. Yeah,
if
for a
that's what you get in the
6rounder,
sixth round, that's fine.
That's fine.
There's not a bad selection if that's.
But you look at so many of these other offenses that are booming right now. It's because they keep throwing resources at receivers. I mean, look at Green Bay. Look at Green Bay.
Green Bay not only threw resources, they seem to have hit on those resources as well. Trust me though, if Christian Watson was here in Jacksonville, be the most frustrating player that you've had on your roster, maybe in the history of the team. I mean, because he flashes this elite level skill set, and then he disappears for months on end with a boo-boo, and that's just the way it is. But, I mean, look, he's a very talented guy, obviously, and they are loaded with that kind of player. You're right about that. All right, John Shipley for one more segment, about 20 more minutes with Ship here. We'll try to go rapid fire and ask him a bunch of Jaguar pertinent questions. And today's question of the day, by the way, is simply out there on Twitter or asking you if you had a chance to ask Trent Baalke a question at his press conference today, what would you ask him? And we'll ask Ship what are some of the most pressing things he'd like to hear Trent Baalke address today, and that'll be coming up in a little less than an hour. You'll hear that live here on 1010 AM and 92.5 FM. Again, a reminder, we will not be streaming that. That means it won't be on YouTube, won't be on any of our apps, but you can stream it. If you're a streamer, if you're out of the market, go to Jaguars.com and you'll get it right there. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, John Shipley, and Dylan Denmark here with you. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Underdog Fantasy Championship Weekend coming. Only 3 games left in the NFL season. Take advantage over at Underdog Fantasy and get your fantasy sports fix before the NFL season goes away. Play Underdog's Pick'em game. It's so easy to play. You pick higher or lower on players' projected stats throughout the NFL playoffs. You can spice up the action and maybe fill your pockets as well. You can win up to 100 times your money if all your picks hit. Underdog is very easy to play. It's also even easier to get started. Just go to the App Store and look up Underdog Fantasy, download the app, and when you have it and you're ready to go, or at UnderdogFantasy.com, sign up using promo code 1010XL, and Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's free money for you to get started with and hopefully win. I love playing daily fantasy. I love playing at Underdog Fantasy. So come join me and sign up using promo code 1010XL. You do have to be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. If you're concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit ncpgambling.org.
All Jags, all NFL. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM. You know Dan Hicken.
You know him? Doesn't everybody know him?
And you know Jeff Prosser.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Mornings on the Drill.
Yeah!
On 1010XL.
They are a laugh riot.
Okay, for this Cannons of Jacksonville commercial, we need an idea to really come out with a bang.
Like having a guy shot out of a cannon.
Nah, too messy. In fact, Cannons is known for all your towing needs.
So like my car won't start.
No. Towing products. Cannons does custom welding fabrication and installation of trailer hitches, goosenecks, tow bars, truck racks.
So you might say Cannons is my best shot at finding that inventory in stock?
Boom. You said it.
Visit cannonsofjacks.com.
There are 3 certainties in life: death, taxes, and if you stay in your home long enough, a new roof. Pick it here for our friends at Lockhart Roofing. Nobody better in Jacksonville. How do I know? They are a local certified Master Elite contractor, and that means they have a GAF Master Elite warranty. That's the best in the roofing industry. In this day and age, don't settle for cheap or discount roofers. Lockhart Roofing has been here for decades. They aren't going anywhere. Call my friends at Lockhart Roofing, 994-3851. That's 994-3851. Lockhart Roofing, Jacksonville's best for Jacksonville people.
Mia O'Brien.
Don't I know you from somewhere?
On XL Primetime from noon to 3, on Helmets and Heels Tuesday nights.
I swear to you, I know her.
And you can follow me on the 1010XL video and social media channels.
I would know her voice anywhere.
All Things Mia is driven by Arlington Toyota.
My friend named Chuck is a do-it-yourself nut. He tried to change his own toilet to save a buck, but he wasn't having much luck. The toilet wobbled and rocked and looked half-cocked. So Chuck pulled the toilet and tried it again, and that's when his wife walked in. Looking at the scene, she could clearly see a plumber Chuck was not meant to be. So she dialed 904-862-6769 to bring her and Chuck peace of mind. Do you ever get stuck like Chuck, having no luck? Call the Duck. Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services. 904-862-6769.
Shen Yun shows are coming January 30th to 31st to Jacksonville Center for the Performing Arts. Shen Yun revives 5,000 years of civilization through choreographed dance, with music combining classical Western and Chinese instruments and dynamic 3D backdrop. Come see it at least once in your lifetime. January 30th through 31st. Tickets at shenyun.com/FL.
Where's the longest cave system in the world? The answer in a moment.
There's always a good reason to compare homeowners' insurance rates. You may be paying too much. Protect your home with a Southern Oak insurance policy today.
Our family protecting yours, Southern Oak Insurance.
With over 400 miles meandering through 3 counties, Mammoth Cave National Park in Kentucky is the longest cave system in the world.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
Pacifico is brewed for those who let go of the things that don't matter and hold on to the ones that do. That's living life anchors up.
Pacifico, found in Baja, imported by surfers. Ask for a Pacifico when you're ready to live life anchors up.
Pacifico is a crisp golden lager, brewed for those who know. It's what's behind a label that matters.
No dental insurance? No problem. Introducing the Care Plus program from the dental offices of Dr. James McCall. For only $625 per year, you will receive 2 cleanings and dental exams, a full set of x-rays, plus 1 emergency dental exam and x-ray. You'll also receive a 20% discount on all other services offered. Kids 12 and under will receive the same program for only $525. Call Dr. McCall today at 620-9225.
Were you forced into a nosebleed mortgage rate in this past year? Loan Pronto is here to rescue you. Hey, it's Prosser. Listen, if your mortgage rate is over 7, you're going to be in heaven with Loan Pronto's zero-cost refi. You can cut your house payment by hundreds of dollars and even do it with zero closing costs and no appraisal. Rates have plummeted to the lowest point in nearly 12 months, and it's time to say goodbye to that bad loan you got stuck with. Loan Pronto's got APRs with fixed rates in the 5s. So don't live with that record high a day longer. You can lock in a lower rate now with virtually no paperwork or cost involved. Call now and see how much lower you can get your house payment. Refi now, and you can even skip your next 2 house payments altogether. Call for a free 30-second quote, 904-999-1508. At loanpronto.com, you can find out more. 904-999-1508. That's 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Visionaries, builders, and doers, are you ready to change the world? Miller Electric is your opportunity to shape the future. Miller Electric is leading the charge in electric vehicle technology with our state-of-the-art EV Innovation Design Center. We're working to create a sustainable future. We're also the proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, powering their performance at the brand-new Miller Electric Center. Miller Electric, we provide competitive pay, unbeatable benefits. Apply today. MillerCareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, John Shipley of Jaguar Report is here. John Shipley has worked for them for a while. They're an offshoot of Sports Illustrated's coverage of the NFL. And if you were watching the sports goings-on this week, you saw SI having a lot of upheaval there, Ship. So people have asked, what is your status? What is your job security looking like? How would you like to address that?
But best way I'd put it is I'm here until I'm not. Nobody has told me with any clear language or clarity, hey, your specific role is coming to an end or anything like that. So Obviously, a lot of still, some darkness in that regards of, the future and everything like that. But for the present moment, I'd like to say, I am where my feet are. So I'm here, and not to say I'm not going anywhere because I truly don't know. But until I have any kind of official, communication to say I'm not going to be here, I'm going to still keep doing me and keep doing the same job I've been doing the last 5 years.
Well, and we did hear, and obviously, I mean, you know about the particulars more than us, that some people will let go right away.
Yeah.
Others might be there for 90 days, things like that. So regardless, we all think you do a terrific job. We wish you the best. We
I appreciate it.
That, SI's loss eventually, if you do end up leaving there, will be somebody else's benefit.
I appreciate it.
Gain. All right, what else do we need to get into here with John Shipley? Darius Williams, one more. Somebody brought up on the text line. I mean, it's hard to imagine a guy who is arguably your second-best defensive player could be a cap casualty. He doesn't make an exorbitant amount. I don't think 10.5 for the season that he had is too much.
No.
But you could basically wipe him off the books if you wanted to and only have $500,000 in dead money, but then you'd have another starting spot opened up. So what do you think the approach is with him?
Yeah, he's one of the toughest ones, and right now I honestly don't have a great feel for which way that might go because it's tough to move on from a guy who just had the season that he had. But there are a couple of things working against him. He'll be 31 next year. That's normally the age where corners start to maybe slip a little bit. If he had a down year next year, I wouldn't be shocked just because it's we just saw the same thing happen to James Bradbury, who is 1 year younger, had a terrific year the year before. This year, age kind of caught up with him. Plus, like you mentioned, he's one of the cleanest contracts that they can get out of. Almost no dead cap. You save $10 million. And then also the fact that with Ryan Nielsen comes, a much different coverage scheme. Darius Williams, he's a great zone corner, really good off coverage. Like we've seen, he's great at reading stuff out, but he's 5'9", probably close to 185 pounds. He's not who you think of when you think of a press man cornerback.
Well, is Tyson Campbell that?
I think he's closer to that.
Physically, he is, but
he's better in zone, though.
So,
cornerback's a big question.
Right, what are we doing with Tyson Campbell, though? I mean, eligible for a big extension?
I think you have to let Tyson play out his fourth year and go from there, honestly. I know last year was mostly injury-related, why he didn't play as well, this past season. But at the end of the day, after 3 seasons, he has 1.5 seasons of, strong play. I think you need to see a little bit more in year 4 before you enter into any kind of substantial contract with him.
All right, how are they going to handle Trevor Lawrence this offseason?
Same boat. The only difference, I think, is that Trevor, I want to say, has shown higher level quarterback play down the stretch of 2022, that 3-4 week stretch before he started really getting banged up this year. I personally don't think that he gets paid this offseason. I think they're going to say we need to take a step back, get back to this thing, improve, attack the offseason, and then he gets paid the next season.
Okay, so is there any, we talk about had they signed Josh Allen last year, they'd probably save some money, right? If they sign Trevor this offseason, are they saving any money? If I'm Trevor's representation,
I can't imagine
I'm not
he's
taking
doing that
Daniel Jones' contract.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's doing for anything less than $50 a year.
Right. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He'd be one of the highest paid quarterbacks. Maybe in the sense of the cap goes up each year, but who's the next quarterback that's going to get paid after him, really? Nobody from the 2022 class. CJ Stroud in 3 years, maybe. So I'm not sure how much you'd really be saving because he's going to be the one who is setting the next, really quarterback market. There's not going to be another guy who.
Does he set it? I mean, does he get the biggest contract?
I think he gets one of them.
Yeah?
Yeah, I do.
And do you feel comfortable paying him that?
Me personally, I do.
I do too, because I think the alternative is what?
Exactly.
You're going through the wasteland of let's try to find a journeyman quarterback who can get us by for a year and we can convince ourselves that we can contend for a championship with that guy. I don't know.
And I personally still think that he's better / was better this past year than people maybe give him credit for. I think a lot of the issues went beyond him. I think it's a situation where if you put an average quarterback on this team this past season, they win 5 to 6 games maybe. I don't know. They only won 9.
So it sounds like you're saying
Still
C.J. Beathard is
3.
not better than Trevor Lawrence, despite the fact what my social media told me at times this year. Is that the case? You don't think C.J. Beathard is a better option?
You weren't sold by that record-breaking performance against the Panthers?
I was. I did have somebody tell me they should continue to ride the, quote, hot hand of Beathard, who threw for like 160 in that game.
Just play the worst team in the league every weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
And look, granted, they nobody else had shut him out at that point, and then they got shut out the very next week as well. How do you think they've got limited resources? Right? Everything, even if you have all the cap space, there's still a limit to what you can do. Do you think they try to address certain positions in free agency versus the draft, and what do you think that plan would look like?
Yeah, I think they're going to try to attack the trenches during the draft. I think they're going to – Ezra Cleveland, I think, is a part of that, but I also think they're going to look at potentially adding another starting offensive lineman in free agency. I think that they're going to look at interior defensive line, finding guys who fit, Nielsen's system because, Ledbetter's a free agent, Blackson's a free agent, Foley Fatukasi's a guy who they could potentially move on from.
Not a bunch of cap savings, but a few million.
Yeah, so you I think need reinforcements on both sides of the trenches. I think free agency is really where they're going to hit. It's kind of been Bulky's MO in free agency the last few years. They like to try to fill as many needs, quantitative-wise as possible so that when the draft comes, they don't feel like they have to reach. Obviously, didn't work as well this past offseason because it led to taking number 3 tight end, number 3 running back on day 2. But nonetheless, I think that's their strategy so they don't have to feel forced to pick an offensive lineman at 17 overall.
So, if it goes that way, you're probably looking at what, corner or maybe receiver?
I really think so because Calvin Ridley, you have to answer that question. Even if you bring Ridley back, him, Zay, Christian Kirk. That's
or him and just Christian Kirk potentially.
Exactly. That's you need more youth. You just simply do. Elijah Cooks is somebody who he'll have to prove it next training camp for a spot on the roster. Parker Washington looks like he's okay depth, but I don't think he's the kind of, playmaker you're really talking about. I think receiver could be a consideration.
Is there, if T. Higgins, who may get snatched up, everyone's going to go, see, I told you they should sign T. Higgins. You and everybody else, okay? We all know we'd all love them to sign T. Higgins. But is there a guy you think that if he does become truly available in unrestricted free agency that they would try to break the bank for? Is it T. Higgins or is it anybody, or is it that not the position that they're going to focus on in free agency?
What about Michael Pittman Jr.? He seems like a Doug Peterson receiver.
What about him? Do you
I think the fact that he is somebody who wins intermediately, he has yards.
I think Higgins does
catch.
that. I think Higgins does that.
I think Higgins is better than him. I think Pittman is a.
He's actually going to hit free agency.
That too, but also is a cheaper option. He'll obviously get paid a decent amount.
So you like that idea?
Not sure I like it, but I think it could happen.
I like the idea of if you're going to do Pittman, Zay is gone.
Yeah.
Right, I think it almost have to be.
Right, like that
100%.
kind of thing, because I do think they are similar players in what they offer.
100%.
Right? I do think they fill the same kind of roles in the offense. I don't think you bring in Pittman and Ridley walks and you think, hey, we've resolved it.
No.
In that room, there's still, you got to find somebody that's going to be the real top end of that depth chart kind of guy.
Yeah.
Even if that is the guy that you draft and hope that develops into that over the course of a year or two. But at some point, you have to address that. I'm fine with that being Ridley, being the way that they choose to address it, plus maybe somebody in the draft in the first couple of days for the first time in a while.
Yeah.
Around here, that'd be fine by me. But I'm okay with the idea of Pittman. It's not necessarily the way I would want to see
100%.
it go, but I get why they would go that direction.
The fact that the only receiver they've taken in the first 5 rounds the last couple of years was Laviska Shenault in 2020.
That worked out well.
Yeah, it's kind of why they're at where they're at now with the receiver room.
Ship, do you think we get any what's the biggest potential Jaguar news that we could get coming out of this Trent Baalke press conference?
I think he'll obviously be asked about Josh Allen and Calvin Ridley, so just his on-the-record comments about his desires to bring both back. I'm interested to hear what he has to say about the Ryan Nielsen hire.
I am too. Are we going to hold his feet to the fire? And if he gives this, it's a collaborative effort. Okay, but what? If you like Nielsen and Peterson likes X, who's getting hired.
100%.
Because, I'm sorry, you can only collaborate up to the point you have agreement. And at the end, somebody has to make the decision. And is it Peterson or is it Balke that gets the final say on the coaching staff?
And I'm interested to see what he would answer on that, if he would actually give, an answer that's has merit worth listening. Because I think it's a great thing to ask. I think it's maybe the question to ask right now. And also, he's the first guy talking since Nielsen's been hired. It's not like we can ask Doug Peterson about Nielsen.
Right. Well, and what about the scuttlebutt we heard? You tell me, does it have legs that Balke was unhappy with Press Taylor's performance late in the season, and that I guess Doug's maybe drew a line there, like, this is my guy. I mean, have you heard that? Is there some of that? Are there camps being like? Is there a Balke camp and a Peterson camp in terms of the vision of how this team needs to move forward?
I'm not sure I would put it like that at this point. Maybe say they're like 2-5 in 2024. I think you can start seeing that, and maybe some of that would be starting being rooted in this offseason. I do think that there's definitely merit to the point that Trent Balke, if it was up to him, there'd probably be a different offensive coordinator.
Okay, so there is merit to that, you think?
I think so. I don't think Balke's a big fan of the offense.
All right. Likeliest scenario. Okay, this is a speculative guess on your part.
Let's hear it.
Peterson outlasts Balke in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Balke outlasts Peterson, or they both eventually get fired on the same day.
Oh, man.
So eventually they're going to get fired, right? I'm not saying it'll be anytime soon. Belichick got fired, right? So eventually everyone gets fired. I'm not shoving anybody out the door this moment.
I think the last option probably the most likely. It's closely
fresh
followed.
Start.
Yeah, closely followed by Balke outlast.
Balke outlasting Peterson.
I'm never going to predict again for the rest of my career that Trent Balke is going to be fired, just because there's been so many instances where you could realistically do it, and it just hasn't happened. I think it's more likely that he retires one day than he ever gets fired.
Well, Briscoe. Then it was out there. It was out there in the ether. I don't know. All right, Ship. Anything you want to let folks know about what you, other than covering today's press conference, what you have coming up at Jaguar Report?
Yeah, we're going to keep looking at some fits for a defense offseason wise. After the Ryan Nielsen hiring, I listed a couple guys, free agents from Atlanta who make sense. Also, some guys that he coached with the Saints, NC State, guys who make sense. And we also have the Jaguar Report podcast, comes out once a week. During the regular season, we do Mondays and Fridays. Now that it's the off season, it's whichever day
whenever
works best.
We feel like it.
Yeah, exactly. It'll happen one day that week.
All right, good
Until
stuff.
then, he's going to be getting sick of prospect tape.
Oh yeah,
and we talked. Maybe you're going to the combine.
Honeymoon.
Honeymoon.
Yeah,
okay.
honeymoon.
Well, sometime after your honeymoon,
You're doing the honeymoon at the combine.
See that?
Very nice.
That it was brought to the table, but no.
You gotta keep her there.
Going to the Bahamas.
All right. Well, sometime after the combine, we're going to get you back in, and we'll do we'll make up for the hour that you missed today. We'll make you stay for a third hour when Tony and I leave at the end of the show.
Sounds fair to me.
All right. At _John_Shipley on social media, and listen for him coming up here in about 30 minutes, asking pointed questions of Trent Balke. Ship, always appreciate the time, man.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for the flexibility, too.
No problem, man. There you go. John Shipley, just simply one of the best covering your team. That press conference coming up in about 34 minutes. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark. We continue on. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey for Tire Outlet, inviting you to ride in style with a brand new set of tires from my friends at Tire Outlet, who offer the best selection, the best quality, and, yes, the best prices. So you're going to find the best tires for your vehicle. Look, they've got over 4 decades of experience and 14 convenient locations around the First Coast. Tire Outlet, simply the brand that you can trust with your vehicle's tires and a lot more. So hurry in for those great deals on tires with the legendary price match guarantee. But they also have expert technicians on hand ready to do the maintenance and repairs to keep your vehicle performing at its best. That's Tire Outlet, where you always get wholesale prices and premium service.
Jaguars Today.
From the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios.
JOI, where the pros go. 1010XL is your home for Jacksonville University basketball.
The Dolphins' 2-game road trip tips off tonight at 7 at Eastern Kentucky on 1010 AM.
Upgrade your home with a winning combination of style and performance with custom windows and patio doors. For a limited time, get 20% off replacement windows and 23% off patio doors. Plus, no money down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. This offer expires January 31st and restrictions apply. Renewal by Anderson, proud to be the official window and door replacement partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com.
License number CGC 1527613.
I-9 Sports. Kids all over the First Coast can enjoy growing up on a field or in a gym. Right now, winter and spring registration is open, so make sure you find out what I-9 Sports offers in your area. Duval, Clay, and St. John's. i9sports.com. Enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit dreamfindershomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
Now that's what I call high-quality H2O. If you want high-quality H2O in your home, call your local water boy, Keith, at Kenai Water Jacksonville. That's Kenai Water Jacksonville.
The flagship station of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Prosser here. Have you tried selling your home and it just wouldn't go? Have you thought about selling your home and thought the problems were too much? Let me give you your solution. It's chadandsandy.com. How's this for a promise? All right? This is a promise. Your home sold, guaranteed, or they will buy it. Chad and Sandy have the solution for your problems. In fact, they have the promises. So don't worry about required costly repairs. Nope. Pick your move date. Yes, you can. There are no long-term contracts, and you can cancel at any time. So many satisfied customers out there. How about Lee and Shelley in Deerwood? We heard Chad and Sandy on the radio and called because we needed a miracle. We had to move my mom to assisted living and needed money ASAP to pay for it, but Mom's Condo Association was under litigation, which limited the sale to cash buyers only. Chad and Sandy went to work. They had our money 15 days later. Truly a miracle. Call the agents we trust and recommend. Call Chad and Sandy today at 904-414-6200 or go to chadandsandy.com.
Hicken here as we bid farewell to the old and welcome the new. Let's make it a year of clear vision and bright smiles. You see, Bowden Eye & Associates understands the importance of healthy eyes and clear sight. They're here to help you see the world in all its vibrant glory. Picture this, a year filled with laughter, adventure, and crystal clear vision. Routine eye exams or advanced vision correction procedures, they got you covered. Call or visit them online today to schedule your personal consultation. Bowden Eye & Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Ever wonder how you can transform your living spaces into captivating works of art? At First Coast Lighting and Fans, they offer a huge selection of high-quality products to match your desire for elegance, quality, and uniqueness. Visit their showroom on Phillips Highway at the Avenues and step into a world of quality without compromise. Discover the difference that locally owned expertise makes and let them help you experience the transformation from average to extraordinary. At First Coast Lighting and Fans.
Start your new year off healthy and get screened at Ackerman Cancer Center with on-site imaging, including whole-body MRI, PET and CT scans, and mammography. Early detection is key. Visit AckermanCancerCenter.com.
Come buy a boat at the Jacksonville Boat Show, January 26th, 27th, and 28th at the Prime Osborne Convention Center. See the latest models, browse accessories, and much more, presented by ViStar Credit Union. Tickets at boatjacks.com. Buy a boat.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. The Gators held off the comeback attempt by Mississippi State last night as they won 79-70. The men's hoops team improved to 13-6 on the year, and head coach Todd Golden was very pleased with how his team was able to finish out the game.
6 points with the ball. Kondo makes his, like you guys said, I think 8 to 10 free throws down the stretch to ice it, and never allowed it to get super tight in the final 4 minutes. But this was a huge win for us, and one that will travel for us. And they're a very physical, very good team.
The Gators will take on Georgia in the O-Dome on Saturday. Tip-off at 12. It's 74 degrees at 11 o'clock. Time and Temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, we got Trent Baalke, Jaguars general manager, stepping up to the podium or sitting in front of the microphone, whatever the case may be, likely the latter. Coming up in 28 minutes, we will endeavor to carry that in its entirety here on 1010, which means we want to do it without commercial interruption. So we're, adjusting the break schedule a little bit and tightening things up so we'll have a wide swath to be able to bring you Trent Baalke. Really, for the last 30 minutes of the show, it's going to run right into the beginning of XL primetime. Likely, Tony, we have no idea how long he's going to go on for. So, again, we pointed it out, if you're unaware, if you listen to this program or watch it or do both, for instance, on YouTube, or if you listen on the 1010XL AM or FM apps, you will not hear that Baalke press conference. You won't hear, I don't know what you'll hear, but you won't hear that, and that's going to be the show. So you're going to hear that over the air. If you're a streamer, just go to Jaguars.com, and they'll have it. If you're out of market, you can listen to it that way.
Yep.
And that's coming up for you. But got a lot to get to, got a couple breaks to get in before we get there, so let's take a quick tour around the rest of the National Football League.
Now, Gems Around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Baltimore tight end Mark Andrews was a full participant in practice on Wednesday. The team still has not activated Andrews from their injured reserve list. Kansas City running back Isaiah Pacheco did not practice on Wednesday, but did tell the media that he expects to play on Sunday in the AFC Championship game. Offensive lineman Joe Thuney, wide receiver Sky Moore, and safety Mike Edwards also missed practice on Wednesday for the Chiefs. Detroit tight end Sam Laporta, center Frank Ragnow, guard Jonah Jackson, and wide receiver Khalif Raymond all missed practice on Wednesday for Detroit. San Francisco head coach Kyle Shanahan said yesterday that wide receiver Deebo Samuel was feeling better, but he still did not participate in practice Wednesday due to the shoulder injury he suffered against Green Bay in the divisional round of the playoffs. The LA Chargers are hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their new head coach, a 5-year deal there for Harbaugh in Los Angeles. The Miami Dolphins and defensive coordinator Vic Fangio have mutually agreed to part ways. Fangio reportedly heading to Philadelphia today to become the new defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles.
All right, there you go. Thank you, Tony. That's a look around the rest of the National Football League. I tell you, the more I think about this, the crazier it is to me. If you think you're going to tag Josh Allen and maybe get something worked out with him over the summer, why wouldn't you furiously be working to get that accomplished ahead of the franchise tag deadline to at least give yourself that flexibility if you wanted to potentially tag Ridley? Maybe they don't want to tag Ridley, right? Maybe they're willing to let him hit free agency and set the market value and then act accordingly. And certainly I don't want him giving up a second-round pick, so there's that consideration as well. I just don't understand this. Hey, this will give us more time to work. Are you using the time you have now to discuss things with Josh Allen and his representation on getting what we feel is the most important thing accomplished, unless you've decided you want him to play on the tag, which, as you heard Tony tell us, he's not sure Josh Allen would play on the franchise tag, right? Doesn't have to sign it. It's not a holdout. It's not under contract. No repercussions. He can sit there and go, that's great. You're not going to pull the tag from me because then I become a free agent. So I'm going to sit here until you give me the contract that I feel represents what I bring to the table. I'm not going to show up and play. That's certainly a possibility if they go down that road.
I think it's best for all involved for the long-term deal to get done sooner rather than later.
So I hope that at least they attempt it.
Right, like that Josh Allen gets the long-term deal. That's good for Josh. That's good for the team. It's good for the locker room to see their best player on that side of the ball that they drafted in the first round be rewarded coming off a season like that. Okay, they wanted to play out the fifth-year option. Made sense at the time, for them to say play out the fifth-year option. He plays it out like that. Reward him. And that has a ripple effect in the locker room. I hope that's what gets done.
Yeah, I do too. And plus, it would probably significantly lower his cap figure for this season, which would...
You could control it a little bit.
Much more so than you could if you just apply the franchise tag, which is whatever the number is for the tag. That is the cap hit in 2024. All right. due to what I just mentioned to you, we're going to accelerate the break schedule a little bit. We'll take a time out here. We'll come back. Let's look at some of the answers to today's Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day, asking if you could ask a question of Trent Baalke. There were some serious responses there. What would that question be? And we'll tell you what we would like to have answered as well. That press conference coming up in about 23 minutes from now. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Dandy Foods. You know what? It's gotten a little bit warmer this week, but anytime you want to warm up your belly, Dandy's got some delicious options that you can just pop in the microwave at your area gate station and enjoy the aroma of that Dandy food that's cooking, because it's made with the highest quality ingredients that the Thompson family can find. Many of those are locally sourced, and they deliver them fresh daily all around the First Coast. You want freshness, you want great variety, Dandy answers the bell every single time. How about the hot roast beef and provolone, the Italian combo that'll melt in your mouth, the all-white meat spicy buffalo chicken if that's a little too hot? How about the classic big old juicy 100% beef cheeseburger? All these I've mentioned served on fresh ciabatta bread, which is baked locally and delivered daily. But those are just a handful of the Dandy offerings from breakfast, lunch, snack time, on the go, anything you like and anything you can imagine to eat. Dandy's probably got you covered. If you're hungry in Duval, do what I do. Go out and make yourself a Dandy. And do it today.
Jaguars Today from the Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute studios. She's homegrown.
Your father's listening to the radio.
She's Jacksonville's sweetheart.
Oh, it's a little cheesy, but...
And she's one of the boys.
Just behave, okay?
She's Lauren Brooks. Afternoons on 1010XL.
Hard Rock Bet presents Legal in Florida.
You can bet the game on Hard Rock Bet. No more betting inside your head. Now Hard Rock Bet is legal in Florida. Now Hard Rock Bet is legal in Florida. Legal in Florida. It's safe, it's legal. We'll repeat that it is legal. Top rated sportsbook and it's the only one that's legal.
Get a no-regret first bet up to $100 when you sign up now. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 and over and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Please call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Trivia enthusiasts, Tuesday night is your night. Gather your team and join us at Players Grill in Mandarin or Miramar for the ultimate trivia showdown. It's a whole lot of fun every Tuesday starting at 7 p.m. Are you ready to prove you're the trivia champions? Players Grill, where the neighborhood meets.
Right now, save big at Key Buick GMC, like $15,000 off the new GMC trucks. Need some low APR rates? Key Buick GMC has them. Rates as low as 0.9% for 36 months, 3.9% for 48 months, 4.9% for up to 60 months, and 6.9% APR for 72 months. And no payments up to 90 days, that's 3 months. No payments, that's Key Buick GMC. We are professional grade, located at the corner of Southside and Gate, or visit KeyBuickGMC.com.
Time now for a medical recap. A health and wellness tip from Jaguars head team physician Dr. Kevin Kaplan.
Rotator cuff tears are the most common overhead injuries I see. In order to avoid shoulder issues, make sure not to overload the front of the shoulder while also focusing on developing good scapular strength and maintaining flexibility in your lats. Proper hydration, nutrition, and supplementation are also crucial to joint and muscle health. Go Jags.
I'm Taylor Dahl on your Gator Station. 1010XL is your pipeline to Gator Nation. Listen for the Gator Report all year round.
Brought to you by Darley's Plumbing, where quality counts. On the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go Gators!
Lower mortgage rates are here, and smart homeowners are wiping out all their credit card debt with help from Loan Pronto. Hey, Prosser here. Right now, Loan Pronto has a cash-out refinance rate of just 5.49%. You heard me. That's a huge drop. So you can get refinanced now, get cash out of your home's equity to wipe out all those credit cards and other high-interest loans. You can save hundreds every month with lower payments. Or, if you still have a mortgage rate in the threes, you can use Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit. Just get the cash you need and leave your primary mortgage intact. Loan Pronto can get you $50, $75, $100, even $200,000 in just a matter of days. Bottom line, Loan Pronto's got several options to help you erase debt and take control of your finances. Call today, and you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. Call Loan Pronto now at 904-999-1508, 904-999-1508, or loanpronto.com, 999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, 5.49%, has 6.39 APR, subject to lender approval.
Lauren Brooks here from Mayport C&C Fisheries. Want the freshest seafood in town? From mahi to tuna to scallops to oysters. Mayport CNC Fisheries is in Atlantic Beach. Do what I did. Go enjoy Mayport CNC Fisheries.
Hicken here, the Borland Groover Foundation proudly presents the annual March to Get Screened 5K race and 1 mile fun run. Sunday, April 14th, the race starts at 7 a.m. under the Fuller Warren Bridge. Their mission, raise awareness about colorectal cancer and related deaths. All proceeds benefit the Borland Groover Foundation. It's a nonprofit organization devoted to building a healthy and equitable community that is free from colon cancer. Visit BorlandGrooverFoundation.com for more.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard has the prices you've been waiting for on a new Cadillac.
We've got the all-electric 2024 Cadillac Lyric SUV.
And we're taking $7,500 off at signing.
And this is not a tax credit.
Everyone qualifies at signing on the 2024 Cadillac Lyric SUV.
We've got 13 in stock with 12 on the way.
Randy Marion is the place to go to find your dream Cadillac today.
Randy Marion Cadillac, Southside Boulevard, Jacksonville, plus tax tag title $899 and fee and resistol.
Tell them Jennifer sent ya.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Jaguars Today
on 1010XL.
All right, Jaguars Today. Got a lot to do here and not a lot of time to do it. We'll break again in about 9 minutes so we can come back. And hopefully Trent Baalke will be super punctual. And we'll have that up for you at 11:30 this morning. But regardless, that's what we're planning on doing. So stick around to hear from the general manager of the Jacksonville Jaguars. We asked you today, what question would you ask if you had the opportunity to ask Trent Baalke one question? We got a lot of snark, and that's okay. We expected a lot of that, but we got a lot of serious stuff as well. So why don't we tell you what we would do with today's 10-10 take?
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take, brought to you by Leonard Truck Accessories.
All right, Tone, for me, I mean, there are really a lot of them, right? So we're not limited to one here necessarily, but I saw somebody say something yesterday, and I agree with it. And maybe it was Matt Hayes who was saying something like this, like, where did you make mistakes? Like, what did you think you saw last year that was X and it turned out to be Y, right? Like, did you think Luke Fortner was going to take a much bigger step forward, and he didn't? Did that surprise you? Did you think you had, excuse me, better depth and expected play on the offensive line? Were you surprised by what you got? Did you feel like you did enough to reinforce this team? Like, were some of those picks that you made with an eye on the future? Did you do enough to concentrate on pushing this team across the finish line for 2023? And did you make luxury picks? I know we're getting far afield with a lot of different things here, right? But I want these things answered. You know, did you feel like Brenton Strange was a luxury pick? In hindsight, would you rather have picked a guy that had a more immediate impact on your team? Now, you got to understand the GM's not going to likely throw a guy under the bus and go, yeah, well, I wish I hadn't picked Brenton Strange. It's just not going to be how they operate, and I understand that. I do. But so maybe asking it in the vein of, what did you think about this roster that turned out to be wrong?
Yeah.
Like, where
was
were
the
you
roster
wrong?
as ready to go as you thought it was last year?
Right, and putting injury aside, putting all these other X factors that can impact every team, did you misevaluate certain areas of the roster, and if so, where? Right? And if I'm going to get an honest answer, that's what I want to know. Like, what did you think that led you to do what you did last year, that in hindsight you go, you know what? If I'm being honest, I probably should have reinforced this area more, or I shouldn't have made that move that I did make, or whatever the case may be, or I could have allocated my draft resources better than I did.
Or how close did they actually get to adding, one of these other pass rushers? Like, we know they talked to Jadeveon Clowney. It's not like they didn't talk to any of these guys. They were apparently interested in Danielle Hunter.
And
right?
apparently,
like, how close was any of that to happening?
I don't get the sense that Danielle Hunter was all that close, but, like, these other guys that were free agents, like, did you lowball them? They're not going to tell us what they offered them. That's the thing. Like, did you feel like you had enough? And maybe he points to and says, look, Josh Allen to set the record. Trayvon Walker at double digits is the best pass rushing duo in the league. We had plenty.
Yeah.
And that, Jadeveon Clowney, I'm just playing hypotheticals here. Jadeveon and Clowney had more opportunity in Baltimore because they didn't have two guys eating up 27.5 sacks for you, and I don't know what the answer would be, but I'd like to hear that as well. Here are some of the ones that we got. Bush Drive Rich, what made you so confident Kayvon Chason was able to be the team's third pass rusher? Well, he was young and cheap. I don't know what the answer to that is. Yeah. All right. Let's see. How did it make you feel to watch the offensive and defensive lines you assemble get manhandled down the stretch and cost the team a playoff spot? I think that look, if you ask it a certain way, like I get what the fans are. Their fans are upset. They're angry.
They want blood.
They're venting. They want blood, right? You're not going to get the answer you're looking for if you ask it a certain way, right? Do you think you did enough? Were you surprised at how ineffective the offensive and defensive lines were at time based on the plan you had put in place, right? I mean, you just got to finesse it just a little bit, right? Because if you go, the crap show that you put out there, immediately it's going to be defensive shell, and you're not going to get.
Did you get what you expected to get out of your offensive and defensive line last year? Right?
Yeah. And what exactly did you expect? And did you do enough to fortify that area? And don't tell me we made a trade at the trade deadline to get a guard. Okay.
And in the way you're looking at it, Trent, when you look back at last season, what fell short? What happened that they didn't achieve at whatever level you expected them to achieve? And you may not get an answer that you like from that kind of question, but
right. But at least let's get
asked.
the answer.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm trying to skip through some of the ones that are just simply not going to get asked under any circumstance, including if these people were there in person, they wouldn't ask some of these things. Yeah. This from Scott, who picked Nielsen, right? And that whole thing we went through earlier. Yeah. What is the process? Who has the final say on filling out the coaching staff? Because to me, it should be the Super Bowl winning head coach that does it. That's me. And if we get this collaborative thing, I want pushback. I want, okay, we collaborated, and I disagree with you. Okay? In the end, you want Nielsen, I want X. Who gets the final say? And did it come down to that? What's wrong with answering that? Mm-hmm. About the dynamic of how this team operates. My 3-year-old nephew would have drafted Trevor Lawrence. You haven't drafted a Pro Bowler or a first-team All-Pro in your tenure in Jags. Well, Trevor Lawrence is a Pro Bowler. I'm just saying, he's been to a Pro Bowl, but let's see, what else?
Where's the question?
Yeah, it was at the end, but it was a ridiculous one, so I'm not going to ask that either. Uh-huh. The hiring process of Ryan Nielsen is a big one here. And what's the process to hold you accountable at the end of the year? Do you meet with Shad Khan? Does Shad Khan grill you on this, that, and the other thing? Do you have to present your case as to why you feel like you did a good job? And are you in there lobbying for major changes to the coaching staff? I want to know all these things.
Sure.
I don't know if we're going to get all these things. I think we're going to, what's the deal with Josh Allen? Josh is a very good player, and we want him here in Jacksonville. We're going to work hard to make sure that that's accomplished, that he's a Jaguar for a very long time.
For sure.
Right? I think
that's the way these things typically go.
Pretty good ball.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
There, right? I think Joe C does a nice ball-key. Time to give credit where credit is due, because I think I'm the master of impressions around these parts. In my own head, I'm the master of impressions. Here's absolutely the master of impressions. Anyway, so we'll see. It's all coming up here in a few minutes. What type of cake would you like at your retirement party? Did you seriously consider retiring? We heard a rumor you considered stepping down. Was that true? Was that something that – and if so, what prompted that? Are you just burned out? Are you, unhappy with the fact that, the life of the general manager is, with few exceptions, fan bases come at you with the metaphorical pitchforks and torches?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Or was that all a bunch of gobbledygook, or whatever the case? So anyway, Trent Baalke coming up here, scheduled for just under 10 minutes. Let's take a break now, and we'll walk you right up to the beginning of that press conference. Hopefully things will start on time. But regardless, we're taking care of our business here, so you can hear unencumbered the thoughts of the Jaguars general manager on Jaguars Today and the flagship home for Jacksonville Jaguar football, 1010 XL. Coming up in less than 10 minutes, at least scheduled, Trent Baalke, the Jags GM. Straight ahead, this is Jaguars Today on 1010 XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today
from the JOI studios at 1010 XL. The Gators are here.
Got it to beat the buzzer.
Florida basketball.
Chop this one up for the Gators.
Hear the Florida Gators all season on 1010XL, Jacksonville's Gators station.
A lot of companies will tell you they're the best. At Custom Tree Surgeons, they show you every time. Custom Tree Surgeons has built an all-pro team. Every tree service professional has years of experience, continually trained and certified. They know what, when, and how to handle any job. It gets done efficiently and quickly by a team of experts. So for tree trimming, removal, stump grinding, and emergency services, forget any name other than Custom Tree Surgeons. There is no job they can't do better. Go to website CustomTreeSurgeons.com. That's CustomTreeSurgeons.com, and let them show you how the job is supposed to get done.
Since 2014, there's been only one official home builder of the Jaguars, Dreamfinders Homes. With quality-built homes and a speedy move-in process, we're in 20-plus communities in the best locations across Northeast Florida. Dreamfinders Homes is everywhere you want to live. So get off the sidelines, Jags fans, and get into the game. Let Dreamfinders help you navigate your home purchase and offer great interest rates. Visit DreamfindersHomes.com for all your move-in ready homes and step up your game.
If you have had problems selling your home or haven't even bothered selling because of the problems that you would expect, here's a promise for you. Chad and Sandy of ChadandSandy.com guarantee your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or they will buy it. Simple as that, right? So if maybe you are worried about selling for less money, or maybe you want maximum equity from your home but not sure how, they have the answers, the solutions, the promises to take care of all that. Take it from Debbie in Orange Park. I was going through a divorce and needed to be close to family quickly. I was going to sell my home to an instant offer investor for $375, but I heard about Chad and Sandy on the radio and decided to call. Thank goodness. Chad and Sandy got me $45,000 more in just 3 days. Call the only agents we're trusting and recommending. Call Chad and Sandy at ChadandSandy.com. The number is 904-414-6200, or you can go to ChadandSandy.com. That's ChadandSandy.com.
Smoke and carbon monoxide detectors are two of the best life-saving investments for the safety of your family. Mr. Sparky will install the best unit for your home.
Call 888-8-SPARKY.
Your on-time electrician, Mr. Sparky of the First Coast.
You sure taking a liking to that radio.
You can't listen all day, every day, but you can catch what you missed on demand.
Go on demand at 1010XL.com.
You have the power to listen when you like.
On demand.
Brought to you by Underdog Fantasy.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Football season means time on the couch and plenty of big games on the TV. Well, Florida Home AC knows you might be hitting the thermostat every time your team goes for the win. With family and friends hanging out for 4 quarters or more, the heating and AC unit will be working overtime. Stay cool with Florida Home AC. A simple phone call to 777-4300 and make sure your unit is primed for the fall when temps change constantly. Order a tune-up and enjoy the season. Florida Home AC, the official AC partner of the Jaguars.
Frank Frangie here. I was born and raised in Jacksonville, and I love living here. But I also know how bad bugs are in Florida. So I trust Orange Environmental Services to handle all my pest control needs because they've got the best technicians and effective treatment. Their name may be orange, but they think green. Orange Environmental has been serving the First Coast for over 50 years, and they now offer complete lawn maintenance services. Call Orange Environmental Services for peace of mind from bug problems today. Call them at 272-3284. That's 272-3284.
What is the rule if a baseball hits the foul pole? The answer next.
How long has it been since you compared homeowners' insurance rates? Log on to southernoak.com to get an instant quote or find an agent near you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
A baseball hitting the foul pole is ruled a fair ball. And if it's above the wall, well, that's a home run.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This is Molly McDonald with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Awaken 180. Former Gator offensive lineman Osiris Torrance from the Buffalo Bills has made the PFWA All-Rookie team. Torrance is the only Buffalo Bill to play every snap this season. Jacksonville Icemen acquired defensive Sean Leonard from the Reading Royals. Leonard is returning for his second stint with the Icemen, where he posted 6 points with 64 penalty minutes in 26 outings last season. The Icemen open a home-and-home set with the Savannah Ghost Pirates in Savannah on Friday. The two teams will meet in Jacksonville on Saturday for Pucks and Paws Night. The Atlantic Sun Conference announced its preseason awards. Jacksonville women's lacrosse was picked first in the preseason ASUN coaches poll. It's 78 degrees at 11:24. Time and temp brought to you by Bueller Air Conditioning. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jaguars today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Tony Smith here on Jaguars Today, walking you up to the beginning of the Trent Baalke press conference that's scheduled to begin here in the next couple of minutes down there at the stadium. No indication yet. I haven't seen him walk in the room there on the live portion of Jaguars.com, but we'll get you there as soon as Trent Baalke steps up to the podium, as we will carry Trent Baalke's press conference live. If you want to hear it, you can hear it over the radio airwaves. You cannot listen to it on any of our streaming anything. None of the apps, not on YouTube, anything like that. If you want to stream the press conference, you're going to have to go to Jaguars.com and pull up the video if that's the direction that you want to do it. But hopeful that it gets started here in the next couple minutes. We'll see how close to on time. We already know Trent Baalke isn't working on Coughlin time anymore, as it's 11:28. And they're not down there and ready to go yet, but hopefully here in the next couple minutes, the general manager of the Jags will be stepping to the podium.
That's a whole other thing, but Coughlin time's about the dumbest damn thing. I mean, if you try to find me for being not 5 minutes early to a meeting, then you're going to have I would not have played well on a Tom Coughlin team. Let's put it that way. By the way, I wanted to make the show more like the drill, so I decided to come in after the segment started. Was I successful? Did it give it a drill-like feel to that?
I was thinking. I was like, this feels like something someone else goes through.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
The drill.
Apparently, we are all like, hey, if you don't move your car now, there's an 18-wheeler that will be blocking you into the lot when your show ends.
Or it gets crushed.
Goodness knows how long we'd be stuck here listening to XL Primetime. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I listen to him for an hour in the car every day. Have I not done my penance? Kidding. I'm kidding. I love you guys. All right. So, yes, Trent Baalke, hopefully just moments away from stepping up there.
The team at least put the link up on their Twitter feed now, but nothing in the video yet. So
yeah. All right. Well,
we're close.
At least, like you said, we're getting there. And I'm sure there is a large segment of the fan base that no matter what Trent says, it won't matter to them. All right. I think we got it. So let's head down to the stadium and listen in on Trent Baalke, the Jaguars general manager.
Last year,